Hi, I'm Chris Pappy on the Texas Elite. Once again, I just wanted to clarify things. I think things were stirred up this weekend over the West Side Invitational, and a lot of people's feelings were hurt over my comments. I truly didn't try to offend anybody, but it gets to a point where you see something throughout your whole life, and then finally you just get tired of it. And, you know, I feel like Westside Barbell has a stronghold on the sport where they're going into meets and feeling that they can get away with anything. And you know, it's taken away from history. It's taken away from the legacy of the legends before them that came. And I feel like Louis Simmons knows what he's doing. I feel like, you know, he'll do anything to get a lift passed, and that's the honest truth. And, I mean, this weekend was just a debacle. I saw high squat after high squat. I wish I could count the red lights that were thrown. I bet there was very few of them, unless the lifter just really missed, because the judging was totally pathetic at the West Side Invitational. I honestly knew when Donnie Thompson agreed to do this meet that this was going to happen. I was like, oh man, why is Donnie even putting his name on that? So Dave Hoff, of course, we know, breaks the all-time squat record, which was taken from Brian Carroll. And also, he breaks the all-time total record, which is 3,005, that was currently held by Donnie. Honestly, I can honestly sit and say that, you know, it's sad that there's not truly a man that can say they broke 3,000 pounds legitimately by powerlifting rules and can live with themselves. And I think everybody knows this. And what makes me mad is when those lifters knock lifters' opinions just because they're not the greatest lifter or something like that. You know, you don't have to be a world record holder to have an opinion. You don't have to be the best lifter in the world to have an opinion. Any person that's in this sport deserves to have an opinion. You know why? Because they put in work in the gym just like everybody else. You know, there's people that are more talented than others, and, you know, it just gets to a point where I feel like people are throwing their weight around and nobody's saying anything about it, you know. And, you know, I've been in this sport since I was 13 years old, since I was a kid. And, you know, I used to go into the USPF meets, and, you know, I always wanted to be a part of the West Side. And, you know, at one point, Chuck Vogelpool was like my second favorite lifter next to Ed Cohn. And actually, Greg Penora is still my third favorite lifter, like, out of everybody. I mean, I think this guy's remarkable, and he was once a part of West Side. But the rules have been tainted, and we know that. You know, I get into it with Laura Phelps, and Laura Phelps says I'm horrid or whatever. You know, I never attacked Laura personally. I said your lifts are terrible, Laura, and that's the honest to God truth. Her squats and totals are not legit. They're tainted. Her 775-pound squat that she calls a world record was probably 6 inches high. And, you know, it's sad that these lifters can just go into meets and lift and think that they're just going to get lifts. And you know, people defend them and they say, hey, well, it's not the lifter's fault. Well, who else tries to squat that high and get away with it? I mean, I go to a USPA meet and you don't see people getting red lighted for depth. They know you better break or you're going to bomb. You don't see people at the Olympia squatting 6 inches high. And when you do, they have to go sit down somewhere and regroup, because they're not going to make it through the meet. And, you know, it's just sickening. And you know, the funny thing to me is like everybody attacks me for what I said. But when Steve Goggins says something, no one has anything to say about it, because you can't attack his credibility. When Scott Cartwright has something to say about it, you can't say anything about it because no one can attack his credibility. But, I mean, I really feel that it's getting to a pathetic point in our sport that we have to say, you know what, we can't just let this group just come in our meets and do whatever they want and have respect. And, you know, I feel like it's the people that stick up for them are the people that can't lift without multiply gear. I guess you can't put up numbers unless you can squat 6 inches high. You know, I think David Hoff is one of the strongest men in the world. He doesn't need an advantage. He doesn't need to be able to break the rules. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. His 820-pound deadlift was absolutely fast as hell, one of the best deadlifts I've ever seen. His bench is freakish. But whenever you put up a bogus squat that should have bombed you, then people are going to talk. And people are going to say, you know what, well, that wasn't legitimate. And, you know, not only was that meet not legit, you hung up pictures of Ed Cohn, Steve Goggins, Larry Pacifico, Fred Hatfield, Don Reinhardt right behind you, and you broke the rules of powerlifting. And not only did you do it once, but you did it time and time again. I could name those high squats. And if I named everybody that got away with a squat right now, I'd probably lose all my friends, because there was so much bullshit. You know, I posted a squat of Rita West not because I was trying to call out Rita West in any way, shape, or form. I just wanted to show the judging of that meet was terrible. You know, now we say that they're not doing it on purpose. Okay, I'm going to take you back to when Dave Hoff put a knee wrap in his bench press shirt to set a record. You know, I mean, what if nobody would have saw that? What if nobody would have noticed it? So we already know there's a lack of integrity there. How about when you go into a meet and the bar gets misloaded twice with a world record, and you take that from somebody who worked for it, being Brian Carroll, you know? And we sit back and we watch this and we just accept it. You know, we're not going to do anything about it. We're going to keep buying these West Side shirts. We're going to keep promoting this. Now it's gone to a personal level where Jason Coker has said things, you know, threatening things to me and whatever. And you know what? I really don't care. Because, you know what? I've been in this sport just as long as you. I work just as hard as you. And just because I'm not a part of a group, I don't have an opinion. So now, this is what I say. Me and Coker are going to face single ply now. I flew to Ohio last time. I had my opinions. You know, it seems like I always got to go to them. Like, oh, well, come multiply. No, why don't you fly to Ohio and compete somewhere else? Why don't you put up numbers in the USPA, USPF, somewhere legit, somewhere where your coach is not on the platform, messing with the judges and trying to get your shit passed. You know, I'm personally sick of it. Like, I'm personally sick of seeing it. You know, and you can call me a hater. You can call me what you want. But deep down inside, you know I'm right. Laura Phelps, the reason why you commented on what I said is because it offended you, and the truth offended you, not anything else. And I didn't attack you as a person. I attacked you as a lifter. Your shit's not legit. And if Dave Hoff's, that record's not legit. Donnie Thompson's record wasn't legit. You know, eventually we're going to have to try to follow the rules and set a standard in our sport. And if nobody speaks up and says anything about it, then it's just going to keep happening over and over again. You know, and as for Coker, like, you're making threats to me. Like, I really don't care no more. Because I couldn't even sleep last night. Like, I was so mad that y'all just piss on the sport like you do. And you think it's cool. You can just talk about somebody and discredit them and take away their opinion. Well, you know what? Now I don't care, and I disregard everything about you. I have no respect for Westside Barbell. I have no respect for Louis Simmons. I have no respect for those lifters. I have no respect for them at all. And you know, I've already boarded a plane and gone to compete against y'all when y'all said I wouldn't. I won the Pro-Am. And the month after that, I won the Olympia. You know what I mean? That's a legit meet. Somewhere where y'all won't go. Let Laura Phelps squat that as high as she did on that 775 in Vegas in front of Steve Dennison and watch how fast he sits her down. Let Louis Simmons try to get on the platform and mess with those judges and make them make a bad call. It won't happen. You know, there's meets in this country where a Westside Barbell shirt doesn't get you lifts. And you need to go to those meets if you want respect. And honestly, it's to a point where even Johnny Vasquez made a statement on Powerlifting Watch about the records. He's like, you know what? We don't have anything to do with the records. Anybody that has a sanction just turns in the numbers, and we have to take them. You know what? Well, not everybody deserves a sanction. If you can't follow the rules of powerlifting, then you don't need to be a part of it. And that's the truth. And you know what? I'll be the first one to say that I've gotten a high squat past. I bombed out too because I've squatted high. You know? And when I didn't follow the rules, I've had to go home. Matter of fact, I bombed at super training, my second meet, because I couldn't hit depth and multiply gear. That was my warm-up for the Pro-Am. I didn't get a gift there. They bombed me fast as hell. So all I'm saying is when you jump on me and attack me for my opinion, which I'm allowed to have, it pisses me off, because what you do to the sport pisses on the sport completely. Like, you have no respect for it. And we can act like Louis Simmons doesn't know what he's doing. Come on, man. You say you're the best strength coach on earth, and you don't know how to make your lifters hit depth? And not only this, it's like the legend. Like, I've had message after message after message from legends just saying it's bullshit, you know? Like they don't have no respect for it. But they're like, man, Chris, we can't even say anything. We don't want to be in. We don't want to be in that. You know what? Well, I've already spoke on it, and you know it's getting to a point like people have deleted me off of Facebook and for my opinions, and it's pretty pathetic, man. It's like you can't take the truth, and eventually we have to wake up and open our eyes and realize that this is bullshit. So I just wanted to clarify the way I felt on the West Side issue and the judging and multiply. If y'all dudes want respect, come out and multiply. Do something different. You know, it's not only that you have a ton of gear on and you get hundreds and hundreds of pounds out of it, but now you get to break the rules. It's unfair to everybody else. It's unfair to history. It's unfair to every legend that's sitting in their grave right now that went through this sport and did it the correct way with integrity. And if you're willing to do that, then I'm not willing to respect you. So I just wanted to say my thoughts, and everybody can say whatever they want about me. I really don't care. And Jason Coker, you've already threatened me and said what you're going to do to me, but you know what? I don't care. Because I know what I'm saying is the truth. And I'll face you anywhere. You already know that. I don't care. I'll fly wherever you want to fly, and I'll compete against you. I don't care. And I know one thing, that you won't come to single ply and walk out squats and compete where I compete, because your ass will lose by 100 pounds. I promise that. So I'm done ranting and raving about this, and I just wanted to say my side of the story. I think that the West Side Invitational was a step back in powerlifting history. I think West Side is the most pathetic thing in powerlifting right now with the rules and everything that they're doing to the sport. I think multiply judging needs to step up, or we're going to constantly decrease. So if my opinions offend you, then it is what it is. I really don't care. Because my heart's pumping 1,000 miles an hour right now. I'm so mad. Like, I'm so sick of seeing this. So y'all can respect that, and y'all can allow that on your platforms, but eventually it needs to change. Eventually somebody needs to do something. Eventually somebody needs to stand up and say, you know what, we can't let history be robbed anymore. So, Louis Simmons, if you're willing to rob history like that and keep going, then I have no respect for you, and I have no respect for your group, and that's the honest truth.